Okay, my outstanding friends, another shocker du jour. Today, just today, the 19th of January, 2024, the World Health Organization says it's inevitable, it will absolutely 100% happen that there will be a disease that will virtually wipe out humanity. Anybody that is vulnerable to any degree whatsoever will die if they get this particular disease X. It doesn't exist right at the moment, but it's like COVID, only it will be like COVID times 10, times 1,000. If you're infected, you die. Right? That's going to be the bottom line. How do you not get infected? How do you keep from getting infected? I think we have some answers now, and I'm hoping that Northern Ireland will be the world center for health. They are starting to look into this where nobody else I can find on the face of this planet is interested in the deep research. They want to nibble around at the edges and never get anywhere, because there's a lot of money when you don't get anywhere. There's very little extra money left when you have a solution to something. You can't milk it. And that's what's been happening, and it's a tragedy. So let's see what they're going to be doing in Northern Ireland, and what we have already done in Northern Ireland, and what I hope to see accomplished in the next few months. And it's pretty stunning. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can make it. I have been talking about membranes and how you protect your membranes and why they are your immune system. And I was working with Marguerite O'Reilly, okay, and she commented here about her son, and I have gone back with her several years, more than that, and we worked together to try to help her son's devastating autism, which they wanted to lock him away in a locked room. He was just in really bad shape. And so we started working on, the first thing I asked her was, how is his digestion? Oh, it's terrible. All the kids with autism have terrible digestion. Well, let's start there. Let's see if we can fix that and see if that helps. Well, sure enough. Here's what happened. This is her words, and she's just responding to my video about the immune system. Now, this was Marguerite O'Reilly, and her son is John Jr. And like I say, when I first hooked up with her, he was nonverbal. He was just continuous stimming and shaking and jumping and humming, and there was no communication between her and between him and anybody. And so we put him on probiotics and some other things she developed, and not too long after, he started becoming verbal, and then he started almost becoming pretty back to normal. Now, here's what she says. Roger's research into good bacteria has helped my son and many more, so much so that our government in Northern Ireland has finally taken notice. And they are so amazed by our results, we're going to storm, this is like the White House. The politicians want to look into this because they have a terrible, terrible problem there, as they do in it's 100% of the world now has this same issue, is weak membranes. So here's what happened. She says they find in Northern Ireland, the government has taken notice, and she's been working with people from the United Nations and everywhere else, and they have the same kids that we do. And their kids are sick. She said, here, try this. And sure enough, they're all getting better. And we had a Zoom meeting not long ago, and I was just thrilled by these. These are just workers that are working from the United Nations, and they're giving their kids the same stuff. And they're saying, one woman that I was talking to on this Zoom meeting she said, my son was nonverbal, just a mess. And after she started giving him the probiotics and so forth, he started talking. And they went back, and she said he could. Before they weren't even talking. Now they can say A, B, C, D, E, F, G right down the line. They can count up to 100. They can do all the things that pretty much normal kids can do. I mean, they're trying to catch up. Obviously, they've been kept down because of this particular disease, which they call autism. It's a developmental disease, and it's really, really happens a lot in kids because they have very little digestive system to begin with. So if you damage that part of their digestive system, they're just a mess. And that it's whenever you read anything about probiotics, they will always refer to especially in children. They'll always say that, especially in children. Children have no digestive system until they become accustomed to their environment, and they grow their digestive system according to the bacteria that they're exposed to. But if your digestive system and the good bacteria that should be there gets destroyed, you're done. And especially kids, they really gets in trouble. So here's what she said. She went to the White House there, the Stormo, they call it, and they bring a demographic study of why 1 in 20 children have autism. What is wrong with their guts? Why is this move to genetic mitochondrial autism in just 30 years? It was 1 in 10,000 children. Today, it's like 1 in 20. See, why 1 in 20? It used to be 1 in 10,000. I know everybody's, oh, now they can diagnose it much better. Well, yes, I'll go along with that, but not that much better. Now, Roger always says we can't do anything without data. That's what she's trying to work on right now, is to get a database set up and do some really studies of which bacteria cause which issues. Now, we can't do anything without the data. She's calling me a hero. I call her a hero. She says, well, what he has done for our children will never be forgotten. In Belfast, the highest honor you can have is putting your face on a wall. One day, my friend, we will all have our wall for autism, and I will be on it. I hope they get a better picture of me. Tell his material science story of minerals and rocks and how he helped solve the problems we face in modern day Belfast. And they have some serious issues there. The kids are getting at 1 in 20. He says, with proper guidance, we can do anything. They are tough people. They're strong. And they're thinkers. All right, they may have an issue with health, yes, and it may be related to the environment there. I don't know. I do know there's other things that relate to it, which damage your digestive system early in life. And this is when you really have to pay attention to your digestive system. If you don't, all kinds of issues will happen that will follow you through your entire life. If you set up your digestive system correctly very early in life, you just won't get infected. You have protection. You have troops that are patrolling your body, and that's exactly what it is. They're exactly like troops that go all the way around into what they call the interstitium. It's a layer that's a fluid-filled highway, and they just buzz around in there, all these enzymes and bacteria. They clean up things, they destroy invaders and all that. But they can only do it if you have the correct bacteria. And once you take antibiotics, which is what happened to me. I started into this whole issue years and years ago because I was given antibiotics for a root canal, and then I had to have surgery twice for what they call a fistula, and that's in your rectum, where it breaks through the wall of the rectum and invades you. And I mean, it's serious, and I had to have it twice, and so of course I did a lot of research on it, and the doctor, the last doctor, the second time I had to start the surgery, I said, what can I do about this? He said, the only thing I can tell you to do is take Metamucil. He says, that really helps. And so I did, and it did help. And then I realized probiotics and the membranes is what was getting invaded. And it's everywhere. There's 200 or more types of cancers. Every one of those cancers is an invasion. And the same thing with autism. It's an invasion of the nervous system. Everything is supposed to be coated with a membrane. If that membrane is breachable, you're in trouble. And why would it be breachable? It's because the enzymes are not in there that fight off the invaders. And why wouldn't the enzymes be there? Because the enzymes are created by bacteria. You don't get the enzymes, 0 enzymes, without the bacteria. So if your bacteria is killed, you don't have the enzymes. You don't have the enzymes, the invaders come in and get you. Now, if the World Health Organization is correct, and we're going to have a disease one day that if you get it, you die. The great dying will happen. Everybody that's invadable, they're going to be off the table. Everybody that has a strong digestive system and has strong enzymes and bacteria in their fluid-filled highway, nobody's going to get through that highway. You try to get through and you're dead. That's what and we may have to come up with some strain of bacteria that fights the new invasive bacteria. This is how it works. So if you find people that are immune from something, that's where you want to look and see what bacteria do they have. All right? And if you find all of the ones that aren't getting sick have the same special type of bacteria, and the ones that that have gotten sick didn't have it, well, that's where I would look. And it's bacteria, it's enzymes, it's the membranes and the fluid-filled highway. And this has just been discovered in the last couple of years. It's this fluid-filled highway. I never knew it was there before, which is basically your immune system. So they had no idea where your immune system was. And doctors today, they still don't have any. I have done a lot of research on this. I've talked to a lot of doctors, and even today, they just, probiotics, maybe yes, maybe no, who knows. Even I just read an article just a couple of months ago came out and says, well, you really don't need them, but they might help. You see this? This is WebMD, Risk and Benefits of Probiotics. This is just a few months ago, September 2023. This is January 2024. And they're talking about probiotics are a type of good bacteria found in some foods and supplements. We usually think of bacteria as something that can cause disease or other problems, but probiotics can help keep your gut healthy. Not only your gut, every bit of your body. Now, here's what they're saying though. In the next breath, they come out with this. Your body doesn't need probiotics. You already have healthy bacteria in your gut, but it usually doesn't hurt to take them, and adding them to your diet might help. Well, very few people have a complete complement of good bacteria. Most people have had something happen to them, whether they've taken antibiotics, or whether they're drinking water that has something in it that is devastating to your internal probiotics, the bacteria that live in there. Now, bacteria are nothing more than plant life, basically. Think of it that way. Bacteria are just little plant lives that are living in you, and they create enzymes. All right, well, if you kill those plants, they don't create the enzymes. Now, how do you kill plants? A lot of it is in the things that they spray on the plants now to kill them, to kill the weeds. And then you eat the food that has been modified so it doesn't die from these invasive chemistry that kills the weeds. And then you eat that, and then you kill the weeds that are inside of you, which is a bacteria. I'm not saying that's happening for sure, but I'm saying that most people do not have a good complement of bacteria. And the only way you can get that good bacteria is with probiotics, and then the newest thing is a fecal matter transplant. And this is against the law. It's against the law to get a fecal matter transplant. There's been virtually no side effects whatsoever, and it basically replaces the bacteria that was in your membranes and brings you back to being healthy again. You have to get that bacteria from somebody that has good bacteria. It's a fecal matter. Fecal is poop. And that's where all this stuff exists. It's in your gut, in your digestive system, in your poop. So you got to find people that have excellent health, and then you take that poop and you work through it until you get out all the good bacteria, and then you put them actually into pills. You take poop pills. I'm not kidding you. And that will build your immune system right back up. And you just take it for a week or so. I don't know, like 5 days in a row, something like that, and you're back to having your normal bacteria. It's that simple. And it's against the law. Now, why? Who the hell made that law? Okay, here's from Yale University. This is Yale University. Everybody thinks they're a big deal. Well, I have a different feeling about that, but this I do feel that they were right. Eat, poop, and live. This is from 2016. All right, that's 8 years ago. Why didn't they do something about this? My wife has cancer. She went to Yale. And I told her, ask him about a fecal matter transplant. She gets there and she talks to the doctor and no, it's not ready for prime time yet. We don't know anything that much about it. And this is just this year. This is not long ago. She's going for treatments now. And I have her heavy duty on probiotics. And it appears that she's doing quite well. And she has melanoma. This is the deadliest form of cancer. And melanoma happens because it attacks your lymph nodes. Your lymph nodes are in your body to deal with lymph fluid, which carries all the nastiest stuff that is in your body, and it brings it over to the lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are supposed to have bacteria in there that kill it. And if you don't have that bacteria, you're done. Here's what they say about eat, poop, and live. And this, again, Yale University. Everybody thinks, oh, these are big shots. It might sound very unappetizing. Many animals eat their own feces, their poop. For example, rabbits do it to help them to break down grasses, which are difficult to digest. Unlike cows and their relatives that chew and regurgitate cud, grass rabbits have to take a longer path. They undergo primary digestion, then re-ingest their feces into a specialized stomach compartment where microbes can really extract the nutrients. Otherwise, you don't get nutrition. All right, out of these tough fibers. They eat grass. That's tough to digest. Rabbits and many other animals also imbibe their mother's fecal pellets. They eat from the mother's feces. And this behavior has been described as adaptive for the babies because it is the way they obtain the core gut microbiome. The reason kids get sick so easily is they have no microbiome. And now they keep, sterile. You got to be sterile. Don't let them get any of these little bugs in them. Well, you don't want to get bad bugs in them, but you want to get them. They eat their own mother's poop to get their digestive system. When a baby is born, it's supposed to be born into a bunch of nastiness. Vaginal juices, all kinds of bacteria in there. Feces should cover the baby. When they come out, if they get all that nasty stuff on them, they're going to be healthy as far as I'm concerned. Now, here they are. These ones are eating their mother's poop to get that digestive system working. Now, people have always also sometimes taken to this behavior as well. For millennia, thousands of years, the Chinese used dried human feces to treat abdominal diseases, all kinds of stuff, believing it had medical properties. In recent years, its traditional medicine resurfaced as poop tea. Where do you hear this? A slurry of warm pig and goat poop is injected as a folk remedy for ailments ranging from skin problems to cancer. If goat or sheep poop is beneficial, then wouldn't an exotic animal be even more powerful? This was the logic of a wildlife biologist. This is where we get into trouble with these. We're so smart, we know what we're doing. No, they don't. This wildlife biologist began selling panda poop tea, $30,000 per pound. He reasons that since pandas are poor digesters of bamboo and have left many nutrients, including large amounts of fiber behind, it should be healthy. So they just want to give them fiber. It's psyllium fiber. So it's a lot cheaper to buy that than $30,000 a pound. I use Metamucil. It works very, very well. It keeps everything moving. That's the key. You got to keep that stuff moving through your digestive system. You can't let it linger. And then you have to have the correct bacteria to break it down. There is another strange case of humans ingesting feces of other animals from their health, though. Listen to this. This is crazy. When a Nazi army invaded North Africa in 1941, the German tank drivers thought it was good luck to run over piles of camel dung because the camel dung would create the probiotics that helped them. The Allies started to make fake camel dung piles and connect them to explosive. So when they run over them, they would explode the tank. All right, the deceit was so well planned, the Allies even put tire track marks in their fake dung piles to trick the tank drivers into plowing over them and killing themselves. All right, camel dung in its true form would hold a life-saving secret. Soldiers were suffering greatly from dysentery. The Nazi medical corps was brought in to attempt to alleviate the outbreak. Early on, the local nomads were thought to hold a key to the solution because they rarely suffered from that dysentery. Nobody ever got it. In fact, when an outbreak of dysentery occurred, even when slight diarrhea was experienced, the nomads would diligently follow their camels around, and when a camel defecated, the nomad would quickly scoop up the dung, ingest some of it while it was still steaming. There is some evidence to say that you have to get it really quick or freeze it before the probacteria go bad. So after close scrutiny of the dung, the Corps discovered that the dung was loaded with Bacillus subtilis. This is a bacterium, Bacillus subtilis. This species is the same genus as the terribly pathogenic species Bacillus anthrax, which causes anthrax, an often lethal respiratory disease. Bacillus subtilis, however, has since become one of those bacteria species considered good for humans. What they need to do is study all of these different bacteria species. And it goes on and on and on. And they're talking about, in recent years, a new incentive method of ingesting feces resurfaced has been heralded as a medical breakthrough. Fecal microbiota transplants. And it's against the law. Absolutely disgusting what they will do to preserve their medical funding. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop. All right, I'm sorry, this upsets me beyond what you can possibly imagine. This is in recent years now. They're talking about fecal microbiota transplants. That's literally eating somebody else's poop that was healthy. If you're diagnosed with gut infection caused by C. difficile, Clostridium difficile, it's colitis. It will cause extreme diarrhea, fever, abdominal cramping, could lead to death, and almost always does if you don't treat it. The problem is that many C. diff infections treated with antibiotics are not eliminated because the C. diff rapidly recover because of antibiotic resistance. They can fight back on these antibiotics. In 2013, researchers tried a radical approach to treating individuals with C. diff by transplanting fecal matter from healthy individuals into the guts of individuals with C. diff. Researchers were able to eliminate the C. diff infection 80% of the time. It's even more than that now. You might be asking how the poop was delivered to the gut. They were giving you enemas, basically. Now they have them in pill form just recently, and you just will take the pills. They're still against the law. You cannot have it unless you have C. diff. There's nothing can treat C. diff except the pills. That's a fecal matter transplant. But you have to almost die and before they'll allow you to take the fecal matter transplants, and then you're all set to go. So you have to go through their treatments, very expensive, very injurious to your body. And then when they say, well, the guy's going to die if we don't let him have a fecal transplant, all right, give him a fecal matter transplant. That's what and it's strictly, as far as I'm concerned, related to the money they're making on these sick people. And it's right across the board, because cancer is the same system. It's invasion of tissue. I've shown this extremely well, and it's fully understood. So they knew back in 2013 that this approach works, and there's virtually no complications. You get a little bit of stomach distress as your stomach adjusts to these new bacteria that are in there. Yes, absolutely. And then a couple of days later, a week later, you're good to go, and then it's over. All right. Once you get that stuff repopulated into your fluid-filled highway, you're good to go. But if you can't get it in there, well, you're done. And how do you get those exact bacteria? You can only get it from somebody else's poop. And you just take pills now. All right, here's the problem right here. When C. diff comes back, and it virtually always comes back, you almost can't get rid of it. The only thing you can do is take the fecal matter transplant. Now, this is open biome. And I've talked to these people, and I think Marguerite's working with them as well. We need to get tests done But anyway, fecal matter transplant pills. They're just pills. Large-scale production bins following successful dosing study. People are getting healthy from it. All right, Medford, Mass. That's where I was born. All right, don't forget, they used to have to give it to you with like an enema or like a colonoscopy. They'd go way up inside your rectum and they'd squirt this stuff all inside there. Well, now they can do it with the pills. And this is what the results from a pilot multi-center randomized dose finding study with 17 patients. And what they found out was an initial efficacy rate of 70% in both low and high dose groups. There's only 40% best you can get using antibiotics, and then you get it again anyway. So this clears you up and you never get it again if you get the right stuff. Listen to this. 70% were cured immediately, being low dose or high dose. Then they found out the treatment with a high dose after an initial non-responsive. They didn't respond originally because they were so invaded that they just couldn't respond. But after an initial non-response, they yielded an aggregate clinical cure rate of 94% by giving them a high dose. There were no adverse events reported. No problems arose from giving these people and having a 94% cure rate. Okay, I just want to make one last point here. In 2023, they're trying to make a bacterial database of the human microbiome. And they claim to have found most of the organisms that exist. It says that highly interactive, visually pleasing database and been designed to easy search, to browse and navigate. Currently, this database contains data of 626 health effects or bioactivities. So they're trying to relate these different bioactivities and how people are getting sick or getting healthy to these different microbiome bacteria. And I agree with that 100%. But you have to take that database and then look at what is healthy and what is unhealthy, and then try to figure out what is the patterns that emerge of healthy people versus unhealthy people. As simple as that. But you have to know all the different species of bacteria, and they're just saying there's like 22,000 or something they're talking about here. There's got to be, I don't know how many, but there's a lot. And they may have figured it out, I don't know. But it's not going to make any difference until you actually apply it to what's in the body and what makes you sick and healthy. And that's the relationship that we need to get. But in order to do that, we need to be able to examine a person's bacterial makeup and then apply it to the database. That's the key, what we're looking to do now. And that's what I'm hoping is going to happen in Northern Ireland. It's going to take money, and I'm sure they're not flush with money over there. So if anybody can contribute, get a hold of Marguerite. She's the one. And she's working with the government of Northern Ireland, and they appear to be interested. And I've found very little interest from anybody, including the health officials, the government people, everybody. And but Marguerite has shown them the efficiency, the efficacy here of what we were doing. And the people, she was working with people from the United Nations, and they have kids that were sick. And she talked about it, and they were just absolutely blown away by the results of what she is doing with her son John Jr. She gave him the same techniques, and they used it on our own kids, and within weeks, tremendous difference. So this is not pie in the sky. This is real, and it can be measured, and we can see the effects. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I love you all. And if you can help Marguerite and donate something, boy, I tell you, we're going to need some money to do this. But once it's done, we can really make a difference in the whole entire world. It's not just there, it's not just here, it's not just over there. It's the whole world is in this same condition right now where their microbiomes are failing because of all of the modern stuff. Basically, that's why. And it's killing the bacteria. All right, I love you all. Bye.